UFC 281 main card review, UFC Fight Night preview, Talking Head mixed martial arts show with Callous Mind is coming your way right now. Alright, before I get started with this week's show, I want to make a quick announcement. I will only be doing one video next week because of time constraints. So what I'll be doing is putting timestamps into the video description like so, and I will also put them on the screen for a few seconds. But if you are watching on YouTube, then you can simply click show more on the description box like this, click on it, and then you have clickable timestamps right here that you can click to take you to that segment of the show. Or I've noticed this feature on YouTube that they're adding, they seem to be adding in their own chapters if I don't. So if you're looking for a specific segment of any of my videos, then you should be able to find them like that in most cases. So if you guys don't join me next week to talk about the UFC Fight Night picks and or results, then I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll go ahead and get those good wishes out of the way now. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there in case you miss me next week. All right, the UFC 281 main card review. I had selected Alex Pereria in this fight, and he did not disappoint. Regardless of whether you think the fight should have been stopped or not, this was another one that went to the brink of a decision. But then the challenger ended up defeating the champion. So this is eerily similar to the Kamaru Usman Leon Edwards fight, where I think they had gotten to the 5th round in that fight as well before Leon Edwards kicked Usman in the head and knocked him out cold. So you know, the thing about long fight streaks is it gets to the point where, you know, everybody is due for a loss every once in a while. It's incredibly difficult to go on a long winning streak and continue to sustain that streak fight after fight, week after week, if you're talking about football, or day after day if you're talking about baseball or hockey or basketball. So it's incredibly hard to sustain that level of success, especially when you got young, hungry guys who may have never been there before underneath you. Or in this case, apparently Pereira had defeated Adesanya in kickboxing in the past, and so he might have had the upper hand in this. But anyway, he won, and that's it. Carla Esparza versus Zhang Weili. That was one that I predicted would go to Zhang Weili as well, and it did. She got her in round 2 with a rear naked choke. So maybe we'll see Rose Namajunas versus Zhang Weili again. I don't know. But that's that, right? Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler. I think this was an interesting fight. I'm kind of surprised in the way that Dustin finished it with a rear naked choke. The thing about this particular fight to me, or his finishing him like that, is that it seems like maybe Dustin's getting back to his roots. And I know that I saw an article on ESPN talking about how Dustin Poirier would be in line for a title shot should Makhachev win against Volkanovski. And I gotta say that I'm not so sure that the Makhachev-Poirier fight interests me all that much. The reality is that we've kind of already seen that. I mean, if Makhachev is the second coming of Khabib, we've already seen Khabib go through, Gaethje and Poirier, and then we saw Charles Oliveira go through Gaethje and Poirier, and now Islam defeated Charles, got the title. Are we going to have to see Islam beat up the same guys that Charles just beat up, that Khabib beat up before that? Or, can we get something fresh up there? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think Islam Makhachev is here, way up here in the lightweight division, and everybody else is kind of down here. So, it's good to see Dustin win in a format other than knocking somebody out or getting a decision. It's good to see him get a rear naked choke victory again, get a submission win again. But does that put him in line to fight Islam Makhachev? I'm not so sure about that, man. But you guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. Next fight was Frankie Edgar and Chris Gutierrez, and I had actually picked Chris Gutierrez in this fight as well. So this was not necessarily a huge surprise for me. You get a guy in Frankie Edgar who's fighting his last fight, and you have still a young, hungrier guy in Chris Gutierrez. He's going to want to send Frankie Edgar out in a bad way because, he still wants to get the win too, God bless him. So he got the win, and Frankie, we wish you all the best in your retirement, sir. And the next fight was Dan Hooker and Claudio Puelles, whatever. I had actually picked Claudio here, and I was wrong. So Dan Hooker got that win, and that was cool for him. And then the two prelim fights that I picked were, I had picked Brad Riddell in this fight, which he lost. And I had picked Dominic Reyes in this fight, and he lost. And Ryan Spann just knocked that ass out cold. I saw that in the prelims. And then Renato Moicano there, he had submitted Brad Riddell. And he jumped on his ass quick. He just didn't even let the dust settle in the round. At 320, rear naked choke. And that's it. So what I love about those subs is they're very efficient. One of the fights, though, that I didn't pick because I didn't pick all the prelim fights, this Erin Blanchfield versus Molly McCann. This Erin Blanchfield just came out there and she put it on Molly McCann. She made Molly look really human. And that Kimura sub, that is awesome. So this young lady right here is definitely a gal to watch out for because she is a great grappler, and she could probably really make a good name for herself if she continues to fight that well. All right, so my UFC Fight Night picks for this weekend. I'm not going to pick every fight, but you can see here on the screen I am selecting Marina Moros, Charles Johnson, Jack Della Maddalena, Cody Brundage, Muslim Salikov, Waldo Cortez Acosta, and Kennedy Nzechukwu. I don't know, man. I'm terrible with names, but I'm doing my best here. And then in the main event, I'm actually going to take Sergey Spivak here. I didn't put my selection block around this one, but that's the pick I'm going to make against Derek Lewis. You can see that Derek Lewis is the slight underdog here. He's at a plus 160, and this other cat here is a minus 190. So, and I also want to remind you all that Bellator takes place this weekend as well. And if you're not watching Bellator MMA, you should. I'm obviously not being paid to promote Bellator, but I'm just saying that there's some good fights. I saw that buggy choke earlier this year that I'd never seen before, and that was incredible. And I actually shared that on my Callous Mind Facebook page. So if you're not following me on Facebook, Callous Mind, then you certainly should be. That's going to do it for this episode of Talking Mixed Martial Arts with Callous Mind. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment, like, subscribe, and share. And until next time, please, please, please be good to yourselves and each other, and I will talk to you all next week. God bless.